Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Around the World in 80 Days. This is from 2004, a remake. There's been previous film or films. 2004, it's 2 hours long, stars Jackie Chan and Steve Coogan as the main leads, and we also got Cecily de France, literally a name, she plays a French woman. Uh, uh, yeah, she becomes the romantic interest of Steve Coogan's Phileas Fogg, who is an inventor, and he wants to help man to fly. He wants to make it so that man can fly. This is the late 1800s, I'm guessing. I didn't get the exact date, but let's say it's late 1800s in London, and he's very British, and he is very inventive, to the point where he will put his valets, his assistants, in tremendous danger in order to break the 50 mile per hour speed record that man has not broken yet. So uh, they keep quitting on him, and we meet him right about the time that Jackie Chan, who has just robbed the Bank of England, needs to find a way to get away from the police. So Jackie Chan, who plays Passport Two, Passport Two, it's a poorly chosen name, but it's a lot of miscommunications between Jackie Chan, a Chinese man who pretends to be French, who in order to fool the Englishman. And well, of course, what's the 80 days all about here? Well, it turns out that none of the other scientists at the time, including Lord Kelvin, played by Jim Broadbent. If you don't know who Jim Broadbent is, you do. If you've seen movies in the last few decades, he's been in many. If they need a grandfatherly type or a nefarious villain kind of dude that's still, you might think is a jolly nice guy, but yeah, you go to Jim Broadbent. He has a lot of range. He's funny. He's dark. He can do all that stuff. But he is the main bad guy in this. He challenges the inventor, Fogg, who he doesn't like at all and doesn't think is a good scientist at all. He makes a bet that he can't travel around the world in, let's say, 80 days. And well, Fogg, in order to get some kind of notoriety and get the respect of his peers, takes that challenge. And along the way, of course, Jackie Chan joins along with him in order to escape the authorities, and they meet Mademoiselle France along the way. And of course, this is a world hopping adventure. If you don't know what the whole concept of Around the World in 80 Days is, from the title, they jump around to different parts of the world. Obviously, they stop. They go to Turkey, Istanbul, where they meet this, in a very strange bit of casting, a Turkish leader played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, they couldn't stop in Austria. I'm just saying, it's a big comedic role in this case for Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not so much tough guy kind of thing. It's comedic. He is a heavy in a sense, but yeah, he immediately falls in love with the pretty young French woman. So there's a little bit of contention there, and they hop all over the world. Eventually, when they make it to the United States, obviously, they meet by chance the Wright brothers. And guess who the Wright brothers played by? Well, Luke and Owen Wilson. Owen you'll recognize from Loki as Mobius. So yeah, there's a ton of little guest appearances. I won't ruin all of them for you. There is of course, Jackie Chan is being hunted by a band of Chinese warriors, and well, there's a reason why Jackie stole this object from the bank. He didn't rob it for all the gold and money and everything else. He stole a very specific thing, and we get to learn what that's about and why he did it. And of course, they make their way through China at one point, and all is revealed. So I'll let you, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll let you figure that out yourself. Not that it's a complicated concept. It's pretty straightforward. By the way, I was wrong yesterday when I said that this might have been a Fox acquisition. No, this is very much a Disney film. It feels like a Disney film from the early 2000s. If it didn't have Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan in it, and all these guest appearances, Kathy Bates plays Queen. Um, you would think that it might have been Disney original, Disney Channel original movie, but no, it's a big name affair. I don't know really how well it did. I never saw it when it was in theaters, um, but yeah, it's high on adventure. It's completely safe for kids. It has a nice action adventure kind of action adventure comedy, British, somewhat of a British comedy, a little bit, of course, with the lead being Steve Coogan, but he's bumbling in his own way. He has his own way of thinking about things. Sees things in absolutes as a scientist's way, and she is an artist, and so there's that little bit of conflict between the two of them that endears each other and also sort of lets them butt heads a little bit. But this is also very much a Jackie Chan film, uh, except through a Disney lens. Yeah, if you've seen any Jackie Chan films, you understand that it's not just martial arts fighting and just kicking and punching and flipping and everything else. It's very much about physical comedy and using objects all around him. It's a, I guess, isn't it? Doesn't he do it like a drunken style kind of fighting? Yes, my hands are so kung fu. Anyway, he if you think you've seen all the Jackie Chan films, well, you haven't seen this, well, then you haven't seen them all. Because yes, this is still very much a Jackie Chan action film. Anytime they get a chance for him to get into a fight, and hopefully with people that are equal to him, like the people that are hunting him down, because he would just wipe the floor with anybody else. But there's also physical comedy that involves him leaping and jumping and holding onto a rope while a balloon is taking off, and he has to save Macy Gray from in her French apartment from burning down at the same time and protecting a baby. That, yeah, it makes no sense to me telling you right now, but when you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. There is just a lot of stuff going on in this. Any chance they can do some crazy wacky stunt that would normally kill Jackie Chan, or it could actually kill anybody else except Jackie Chan, they do it. So yeah, this is a remake of a classic with I mean, it's a Jules Verne story. It's Jules Verne's story made into a movie many years ago, and at least one other movie. I didn't see all the list. There is more than this in the previous Around the Right World in 80 Days movie, but this is Disney's take on it, and they threw Jackie Chan in the mix because he was really popular at that time. It's not that he's not unpopular; he's Jackie Chan. So yeah, if you want to see it for the crazy antics and introduce your kids to, if you're watching this as an adult, I imagine you are, because if you have kids and you want to introduce them to the magic of Jackie Chan's, it's still fighting, but it doesn't feel violent, because there's a fight in an art gallery where he's fighting other foes that are his equal, but he's Three Stooges slapsticking them. They're literally painting something as they fight with paints and brushes and all sorts of other things flying everywhere. And it's kind of, really, it's very Jackie Chan, but it's very very fun along the way. So yeah, it's pleasant violence for kids and for everybody, for the whole family. So yeah, I can't say this is like the greatest movie in the world. It's so very predictable. And special effects are not that great, believe it or not. When they hop into a new land, maybe it's meant to not look photorealistic. That maybe it's supposed to look cartoonish, I guess, but they do it enough to make it realistic that you think they were trying to be realistic, and they failed. I don't know. It's confusing to me. But yeah, the digital work is not always great. But it's 2004. That is like a million years ago. So, yeah. Um, So yeah, that's great. By the way, in order to drive home the fact that this is a Disney film, they do. There's a version of "It's a Small World After All" performed over the credits by the Baha Men. If you remember who the Baha Men are, well, then here's your chance to hear "It's a Small World After All" by the Baha Men. And I think Steve Coogan even sings a song over the credits at the end. I don't know. I didn't see his name in the credits. I must have missed it, but yeah, if you're a big Disney Parks fan and you want to hear a new version of "It's a Small World," this is the movie you need to see. So anyway, yeah, I can't tell you that it's the greatest film. It's probably not even the greatest version of this story, but if you love Jackie Chan, you love Steve Coogan and Jim Broadbent and everybody else, and lots of fun little cameos, you could do worse. And it's a kind of movie you could throw on in the background as you're doing other stuff, and every once in a while stop and go, really? How in the what? What is that person doing there? But yeah, it's fun. Oh, yeah. By the way, Will Forte has a little tiny cameo as a British police officer toward the end. Will Forte from Saturday Night Live and all sorts of other stuff. Sweet Tooth and Last Man on Earth. So yeah, very, very strange. All right, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
446.
Okay, we're jumping between the 400s and the low numbers, just back and forth, back and forth. At least that's how my brain remembers it. I could be wrong. 446. All right, it's finally not a movie. We've gone on a week-long run of just movies. I don't know what this is, but it falls under the reality and documentary category. It's in red. That's how I differentiate things, and this very well could be wrong. I have no idea, but it is called Roll It Back. Roll It Back on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I have no idea what that is. What are we rolling back? We're going to find out tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then. Bye.